My son asked why I never spoke about his father.
He asked me last night why I never talked about his father. The question came so suddenly, so gently, that for a moment I thought I'd misheard. But then I saw the look in his eyes, that quiet, aching curiosity, and I knew he had waited years to ask. I froze. My hands stopped moving, my breath caught in my chest. It's strange how one question can tear open every door you've spent a lifetime keeping closed. For years I told myself silence was protection, that he was too young, too fragile, that forgetting was safer than remembering. I thought if I never spoke his father's name, maybe the past would fade into something distant, like an old photograph left in the sun. But now he's 16, and his eyes look just like his father's did the day he left. That same deep brown, that same storm quietly hiding behind them, the same hunger for truth. I told him his father wasn't the man I married, not anymore. Once he was gentle. Once he made me feel like the world was something worth believing in. But people change. Love changes. Sometimes it fades so slowly you don't even notice until one day you wake up and realize the laughter has been gone for years. His father lost himself, to pride, to anger, to choices that broke us both. But that's not how our story began. No, in the beginning, he was my whole world. I still remember the first time we met. I was 21, working at a small cafe near the university. He came in on a rainy afternoon, drenched, messy, smiling like a boy who'd just been caught in trouble. He ordered a coffee, no sugar, and when he handed me the money, his fingers brushed mine. It was just a second, but something inside me shifted. For weeks he came every day, pretending he needed caffeine, but I knew it wasn't the coffee. He wanted to talk, to stay a little longer. He had this way of looking at people, really looking, like he could see through the noise and find the part of you kept hidden. He was studying architecture. He used to sketch buildings on napkins while we talked. I still have one of those napkins somewhere, a small house with big windows, surrounded by trees. He told me, "Someday I'll build you this house." A real one, with light everywhere and no locked doors. I believed him. Back then, I believed in everything he said. We got married 2 years later in a small church on the hill. Just us, a handful of friends, and the sound of rain outside. I remember how he squeezed my hands during the vows, how his voice shook when he promised to love me until the end of time. I thought nothing could ever break us. But time doesn't keep promises, it tests them. The years that followed were beautiful at first. We laughed a lot, we danced in the kitchen, we dreamed big. A family, a house, a life we'd build together. When I got pregnant, he cried. He held me and whispered that our child would have everything we never had. But somewhere after that, the light began to fade. He started working longer hours, missing dinners, coming home smelling of exhaustion and something else I couldn't name. Regret, maybe. He said he was doing it for us, but he was slipping away from me piece by piece. There were arguments, small at first, about bills, schedules, time, then louder ones about dreams, about who we used to be. He was angry all the time. I was afraid all the time. Pride kept us apart when love could have saved us. I tried to reach him, but he was already drowning in something I couldn't touch. When he started drinking, I told myself it was temporary. But the man who once built castles in his notebook now sat in silence, staring at nothing for hours. One night, I found him crying in the dark. I asked him what was wrong, and he said, "I don't know who I am anymore." I wanted to help him, to pull him back, but he wouldn't let me. A week later, he left. No note, no explanation, just an empty closet and a silence that filled the whole house. I remember sitting on the floor, holding one of his shirts, still smelling of his cologne, and realizing that love can't always fix what's broken. For months, I waited. I told our baby that Daddy was away for work. I lied to everyone and to myself. But inside, I knew he wasn't coming back. Years passed. My son grew up without asking questions, maybe sensing that the truth was heavier than his heart could carry. But I carried it for him, every day, until one morning, a letter arrived. No return address, just my name written in handwriting I hadn't seen in so long. I knew it was his. My heart raced, but I couldn't open it. I wasn't ready to face his words. I hid it in a wooden box, locked it away with our wedding photos, and swore I would never read it. I told myself I'd moved on, that forgiveness was unnecessary. but deep down I knew I was lying. Because the opposite of forgiveness isn't anger, it's silence. Last night, that silence finally broke. My son's question was the key. "Mom, why don't you ever talk about Dad?" There was no accusation in his voice, only longing. I saw Daniel in him, not the broken man who left, but the boy who used to draw houses for me on cafe napkins. I went to the attic, searching through dust and years until I found the box. It was lighter than I remembered. Inside was the letter, still sealed. My hand shook as I held it. For 16 years, I had let it sit there, unopened, unspoken. I walked back downstairs, sat next to my son, and handed it to him. "This was written by your father," I said. "I never read it. Maybe it's time." He looked at me, hesitant. "Are you sure?" I nodded. He unfolded the letter carefully, as if afraid it would break apart in his hands. His eyes moved over the page, and slowly, tears began to fall. When he finally spoke, his voice trembled. He wrote, "Tell our boy I found my way home." The words hit me like thunder. My son continued reading. "Tell him I never stopped loving him. Tell you that I'm sorry for the years I wasted, and that I finally understand what forgiveness means." I couldn't speak. The room was silent except for the rain outside. Daniel had written it from a hospital. He'd been sick. Something about his heart, the doctor said. He knew his time was ending. The letter was his way of coming home, not in body, but in truth. For so long, I thought forgiveness meant excusing what he did. But as I listened to my son read those words, I realized it was about setting us both free. From the silence, from the pain, from the past that still haunted every corner of our lives. That night, after my son went to bed, I sat by the window. The rain had stopped, and the air smelled of new beginnings. I took out the old photo of our wedding, the one where Daniel is smiling at me like I'm the only person in the world. I whispered into the dark, "You found your way home." And for the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because everything was okay, but because I had finally let go of everything that wasn't. People think closure comes from answers. It doesn't. It comes from acceptance, from realizing that some stories don't end the way we imagined, but they still deserve to be told. I will tell my son about his father. Not the man who left, but the one who loved us, who dreamed with us, who tried even when he failed. Because that's who he was before the world changed him. Sometimes silence protects, but sometimes silence suffocates. Last night, it finally released us, and as I turned off the light, I whispered his name again, not in anger, not in grief, but in gratitude. "Daniel, you finally found your way home." And so did we. In the weeks after that night, my son started asking more questions. He wanted to know what his father was like, what made him laugh, what kind of music he loved. At first, it hurt to remember, but then it began to heal something inside me. I told him about the time Daniel got lost on our honeymoon because he refused to ask for directions. About how he used to dance with me in the kitchen, barefoot, to songs from the 70s. About the way he talked to our unborn baby through my belly, whispering secrets and promises. My son laughed, and I saw in him the man I'd once loved, and the child we'd both been trying to protect. Little by little, the silence that used to separate us became a bridge. We started visiting the old places again. The cafe where I'd met Daniel, the park where we used to sit for hours, dreaming about a future that never came to be. It was bittersweet, but beautiful. Sometimes healing isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, like the sound of rain fading after a long storm. And now, whenever I think of Daniel, I no longer feel anger or regret. I just feel gratitude for the love we had, for the lessons it left behind, for the boy who carries his eyes, his heart, and maybe even his courage. Because through our son, a part of Daniel never really left. Forgiveness, I've learned, is not a destination. It's a journey that begins the moment you stop asking why and start saying thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for teaching me that even broken hearts can still find their way home. And as I whisper goodnight, I hear the rain again. Soft, steady, familiar, like a memory returning not to haunt me, but to remind me that every ending, no matter how painful, carries within it the seed of peace. Because sometimes, love doesn't need to last forever to mean forever. And this is how I finally learned to speak his name again.